Wow, me being consistent with movie content recently? That's surprising that it's not a bunch of music videos, but today I'm going to be talking about Con Air because I watched it for the first time. Now, a lot of people are like, what? You haven't seen Con Air? Because it is a 90s action classic. I've been a big action fan for years. It's just one of those that I guess I just didn't see. I don't know how. Yesterday I talked about Commando. I revisited the movie and really enjoyed it, but Con Air is one that I've just heard is like this crazy, awesome, kind of testosterone-filled 90s action flick. And boy, were they right. I can't remember exactly if people refer to this as like a guilty pleasure action movie. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really think so because sure in the third act does it go just absolutely crazy with the plane going through Las Vegas, driving through cars, all that. I'll be talking minor spoilers here, just warning, like nothing too major. I won't say anything too massive, but just with planes going through Las Vegas, that is absolutely crazy. And logically makes absolutely no sense what happens to like Cyrus the Virus, who is awesome, by the way. John Malkovich is so good as Cyrus the Virus, and this is like, I'm pretty sure the first time I've seen him in like one of the main roles, and he was awesome here. And Nicolas Cage, this is like one of the Nicolas Cage action movies that I've heard about, and that's kind of what I mean. And I wasn't sure if it was like a guilty pleasure movie because it was Nicolas Cage, but I thought he was actually pretty good in the movie. Like, there were sure some times where his accent was quite over the top, but they call him like hillbilly and all these things, so it's kind of like self-aware in that way. It doesn't just feel like Nicolas Cage just like adding some toppings to his character. It actually feels kind of warranted, and I found the actual story and like the reason he's trying to get back kind of in some ways almost heartwarming. Like it was kind of sweet to hear, and he looked awesome in the movie with the long hair. That's not something you see all that much. And of course I've seen like pictures from the movie, and I saw the shot, you know, where it like zooms out on him this way, and like I think everyone knows that shot. Then he winks. Like, there's stuff like that, which there are times where this movie goes completely over the top, but just throughout the whole movie I thought the cast was really good. There were some surprises here, like Steve Buscemi. I had no idea he was going to be in the movie, and then he showed up, and then he had that like horrifying implied scene with that little girl when like he sat down. I was like, oh jeez, what's gonna happen? Uh-oh. They didn't show anything. They kind of just leave it up for you to decide, but that was kind of terrifying. And I love how, of course, Cameron Poe, who is Nicolas Cage, I love how he stood up in some scenes, and I think my favorite line in the movie, besides "put the bunny back in the box," was when what's his name, Johnny 23, who's trying to turn into 24, keeps going after the woman on board, and he's like, don't treat women like that. It's so funny. It's like that alone can end sexism, honestly.
Don't treat women like that.
I just found it really entertaining. It was actually a super well-paced movie too. There was not a single moment I felt bored. This is easily one of my favorite 90s action movies, and it's one that I can definitely see myself revisiting a lot because there's just a lot that's really cool about it. I went into it knowing it was going to be like big explosive, and in the end, you know, when stuff starts blowing up and all that, like it definitely gets pretty crazy and not too logical. But when you're going into a 90s action movie, do you expect it to be that logical? I had no problem with it being like that. I really enjoyed it. I thought Nicolas Cage was pretty good, and like people like Ving Rhames, I think that's how you say his name. Obviously, you know, he's been in Mission Impossible, Pulp Fiction, like all these other movies, Lilo and Stitch too. Like, he was also really cool. He was kind of menacing. There were a few funny things, like what they do with that one character that comes on and keeps like screaming throughout the movie, or I think they say she, like the one character who's like stereotypically kind of flamboyant, you know. Also, John Cusack was in this movie, and that really surprised me. His performance was really cool. I liked the dynamic between him and Nicolas Cage, and of course Nicolas Cage and what the hell is his name? John Malkovich, like stuff like that. Everyone always bounced off each other well. Everyone in the cast was really good, actually. There were a few people like Dave Chappelle. That surprised me. He was so funny in the movie. He was also really awesome. He had a ton of amazing jokes. And there's a reason why people always talk about this movie, and it's one that I can definitely see myself revisiting, as I said. As for a grade, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. Yes, that high. I know a lot of people don't give this movie that high, but I feel like I enjoyed it more than most people. It was a ton of fun. Maybe I was just in the mood for a really awesome action movie, and I just finished Commando, so that might be it, you know, because Commando is awesome, stupid, but awesome, whereas this one is just pure adrenaline, Really awesome, really great movie. If you haven't already, check it out. Make sure to do that. Of course, it is on Disney Plus and Star, which is just crazy to say that you're watching movies like Commando and Con Air on Disney Plus. This one's definitely worth it, and I'm going to be watching The Rock for the first time, which also is like a Nicolas Cage late 90s action movie, so I'm really excited there. I would like to react to it, but I don't own it, so I can't exactly do the things to the point where I can react to do all the magic behind the scenes that you see there, but I'll do a video on that coming in the next few days, not 100% sure, and yes, of course, you know, you'll still get your first time listening for albums like The Blizzard of Oz coming very soon, obviously, no Crazy Train, don't worry. And more Beatles content, I'm going to rank the episodes of WandaVision, all that. But tell me what you think of Con Air in the comments down below. What's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie, or give me a bunch that are really good. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.